Thank you. My name is Aurelian Lavrik. I'm an associate professor at the International Relations faculty from the Moldova State University. Two short questions. The first is, we know NATO has a partnership with Russia. I'd like to ask you why NATO's image in Russia is very bad. We can watch the Russian mass media, and in the last decades, NATO is the main enemy and a threat for the Russia. I'd like to know why is that in your opinion. And the second, also short question about the status of neutrality of the Republic of Moldova. As you know, in Moldovan constitution, we have this principle, but in the eastern part of the Republic of Moldova is under the Russian occupation. Personally, I don't understand why the Moldovan authorities use such notion as separatist movement in Moldova, when never the Moldovan government controlled that part of our republic. So in the case of an aggression of the Russian Federation from the eastern part of Moldova, I mean towards the aggression to the free Moldova territory, what would be the answer and the position of NATO? Thank you.
Thank you.
The notion of neutrality is in the Constitution, and it's the sovereign right of every nation to draft its own constitution. So we are working with this country on the basis what you have. And that is a strategic decision each and every country has to do on its own. But I do notice that you also have your strategic direction or decision, which is called European integration. So there are 2 points. We do work, and that is my second point, we do work with countries who have that notion of neutrality, because that was their decision. And let me only refer to the most evident cases. There are some EU member states, they wouldn't call it neutrality anymore. It's more like non-bloc or non-alliance. But we have some, like Sweden, Finland, Austria, I forgot the fourth, Ireland. And we work together with them. They are EU member states, not NATO member states, but mind you, they are very much working together with us, including in operations. Mainly ISA, KFOR. The Swedes actually also provided some planes for the operation over Libya. So they are in that quasi-neutral modus, but that doesn't stop them from working together with us. So in the sense of a cooperation between NATO and Moldova, this is not a real problem. We can work together, and how you term your own strategic direction in your constitution, this is an interior matter for your country. You refer to the situation in Transnistria. Okay. Moldova is not a member state of NATO. So the Article 5 situation does not apply to a country which is not a member state. But would we be impacted in the case of a scenario as you just painted it? I think it would be a major disturbance of regional security in Europe, so it would certainly lead to debates, I'm sure about that. But quite honestly, I don't think it's more, and that is my firm belief, that it is more than a hypothetical question. I don't think that in the present situation any Russian government would come to the conclusion which you just highlighted or on which you speculate. This brings me to the other question on the perception of NATO in Russia, and I've been dealing with NATO-Russia relations since over a decade. My first NATO job also had to do with that. So I'm very much aware of the perceptions there. And mind you, I come from a country which, not in a similar situation, but somewhat similar situation, which we were a divided country. And part of my country was member state of NATO, and the other one was part of the Warsaw Pact. So did we have some misperceptions about NATO in the other part of the country? You can bet we had. Do they still prevail? In the older generation, for sure, yes. So I'm not surprised that there are still some cliches. Unfortunately, they are being sometimes nurtured. I don't think that they die out quickly. I'm also afraid that the Russian views on NATO's operation over Libya are not helpful when it comes to our perception in Russia, but we can't make our decisions simply based on perceptions. I think the missile defense issue will be an important one in the long run, both for the security situation and perceptions. So I think this is a strategic question when it comes to real life, but also to perceptions. But never mind, also this is a difficult topic. I would also like to highlight that our cooperation with the Russians has increased big time lately. We have cooperation with them on counterterrorism, looking at so-called standoff explosives and how we can work together to fend those off. We have a project in the NATO-Russia Council on counter-narcotics together with Central Asian countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, but it's a NATO-Russia project. We have a trust fund with the Russians on a lot of helicopters which they provide for Afghanistan, and this is a trust fund to make sure that the maintenance and spare parts for those helicopters are being dealt with in the framework of a NATO-Russia project. And we have a cooperative airspace initiative where there were some exercises in the skies over Poland and Russia just recently. And I could go on just to show you that in essence the cooperation has increased. Maybe that hasn't been picked up enough by the people, but it has increased. And it has done so because people have realized that the strategic interests are actually starting more to converge than to be different. And that is what in essence drives cooperation, its interests. And with this, I think I have to take a look to the exit door because I'm having an appointment at 5 o'clock with some television station here, and I think I'm a little late. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for your questions.